19-year-old Anthony Pratt of Far Rockaway, New York, has been arrested for the murder of 29-year-old Margarita Fisenko Scott. Pratt was taken into custody April 2nd in Queens, New York, following questioning by Portland police detectives. Detectives with the New York City Police Department Major Case Squad assisted with those interviews in New York. Fisenko Scott's body was discovered on January 17th, 2013, in an SUV parked at Motel 6 in Portland off Riverside Street. It is believed she was murdered in the first floor apartment of 266 West Concord Street in November of 2012. Her body was dumped in the car and abandoned at the motel. The cause of death was a single gunshot wound. Pratt and Fisenko Scott were dating at the time of her murder. Although she was married, Fisenko Scott and her husband were estranged at that time. Pratt is being held in New York pending extradition proceedings. A couple things that aren't on the press release. Let me just state that the firearm in question here was stolen in a burglary in Central Maine and then was transferred hands down here in Portland in a parking lot where it was sold to a third party. And I would also like to make very clear that as I do mention in this press release that Margarita was estranged from her husband, the husband, Kerry Scott, has been incredibly cooperative throughout this investigation, has completely ruled out as a suspect here, and is very apparent that is a loving family member that was very concerned with Margarita's absence, and then ultimately when we found that she had been murdered. So he's been very cooperative throughout, and I wanted to make that very clear to everybody in the room.